Hi everyone, my name is Olivia, and today I'm going to talk about a social work tool I've used in my field placement, which is called person-centered programming. This is a core approach in social work because it really guides how we support clients in making decisions that align with their values, goals, and strengths. Before I talk about the tool itself, I wanted to give a quick overview of my role at my field placement site. I'm an ACEW CADI waiver case manager, which stands for Alternative Care, Elderly Waiver, and Community Access for Disability Inclusion. In this role, I work with vulnerable adults, many of whom have experienced trauma, significant health issues, or major life transitions. Because of these factors, it's especially important to approach clients in a way that centers their voices, their decisions, and their autonomy, which is why person-centered programming is such a crucial tool in this setting. So person-centered programming is an approach that focuses on the individual rather than the system. So this means we are prioritizing the client's strengths, abilities, and preferences, supporting clients in making their choices about their own lives, building services with them, and promoting dignity, independence, and self-determination. So the three main areas where I apply person-centered programming in case management is writing support plans, writing case notes, and corresponding with providers for services or referrals. So when I make a client support plan, I use person-centered language. So I don't just list services or medical history. I make sure their plan reflects who they are, what they like, and talks about them as a person, not just a client. When I write my case notes about interactions I have with clients, I make sure to center their perspective, what they wanted, how they felt, and what decisions they made during our time together. This helps me capture the client's voice and ensures the documentation reflects them as a whole person. Finally, when coordinating with providers or setting up services, I always advocate for the client's best interests. So this might be involving the time or amount of services they need and making sure that these services align with their goals and preferences. So here is just a person-centered programming handout that I made that outlines the 5 main categories of applying person-centered practices when working with clients. And this can be used in any type of social work, not just case management. So for strengths and interests, it's mostly what the client's good at, their skills, talents, daily routines they like, any of their hobbies or activities, things like that, which reflects their personality and, gives them more personable traits. And then for goals and wishes, these are like the short-term and long-term goals, dreams, and things they want to work towards. So this ensures that the client's goals are included in the services they are receiving. And these can be personal, professional, medical, anything like that. And then for health and well-being, this is any physical, emotional, and mental health needs, as well as anything that affects the client's overall quality of life. And so this is more of like the medical side, but it also helps with like their coping strategies and things that have been working well for them to help cope with their illnesses. So then for cultural and personal values, this is beliefs, traditions, routines, communication preferences, or other personal cultural factors that are important to the client. This is especially helpful for clients who celebrate traditions and have to abide by their rules. So it's good for providers to know when that is happening so they, respect that time that they're celebrating. And then support network, this is family, friends, caregivers, anyone who helps the client feel supported and connected. This can also be peer groups or, at a community center, any clubs that they're in. So yeah, in conclusion, person-centered programming helps social workers focus on the client's voice and decisions and builds services and plans collaboratively and promotes their independence and autonomy. Adding this tool to your social work toolkit can help you work more effectively with clients across different settings. Thank you for listening.